Hey guys, Drifter here. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer reveal is today, with Activision showing off some 2v2 face-off mode right now on Twitch, and my understanding is that this is just one part of a series of upcoming reveals, but what I really wanted to say is that I actually played Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer on my trip to Infinity Ward. I had to sign an NDA to keep this confidential for almost a month now. It's been very difficult for me to sit on and not talk about, but a portion of the NDA has finally lifted, so I can talk all about Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer within the scope of discussion of the 2v2 mode. And just one little teaser for you right off the rip here, there are no specialists in multiplayer. Thank God in heaven above, we do not have special abilities, we do not have special weapons, all operators are exactly the same. And I played a lot more stuff that I really can't talk about today, but I can talk about some of it in relation to the discussion of the 2v2, so there'll be a lot of associated information here. But I will say everything that I played was shockingly good. I basically couldn't believe that this game was actually coming from Infinity Ward. I was shocked and very happy. That's why I've been so positive about Call of Duty Modern Warfare lately, whereas I've been very negative on other COD branded things. And in case you're wondering why I look or sound funny or why the chair is different, I've messed my back up like super bad. I am pretty much bedridden for this entire week, and I'm using up all of my pain tolerance just to record this one commentary, and that's why the gameplay right now is J-Hub's gameplay, because I literally couldn't even sit down to play games. First of all, let's go a little bit out of order and talk about some new gameplay mechanics that you might see in the live stream. You can mount your weapon on the side of any vertical or horizontal surface in multiplayer to minimize that type of recoil. So if it's like a chest-high wall and you put your gun on the wall, it's not going to have any vertical recoil. If it's a doorway, you can mount it horizontally on the doorway to corner a room and it won't have any horizontal recoil. So it's kind of opposite of what you mount to. There's no goofy attachments required for this, no bipods, no perks, nothing like that. It's every weapon in every situation, except I don't think pistols or launchers can do that. And the surface does pretty much need to be a flat 90-degree surface. Rocks, trees, uneven things aren't going to do it, but that's chest-high walls, that's windows, that's most ledges and decorations. The floor, you can just prone out and mount most rifles on the floor. Every doorway in the game, every garage door, some of the vehicles you can lean over, even some of the lampposts on the street, you can sit there behind no cover and get you can just have your face in a lamppost and corner if you really want to for whatever reason. So you might see people do that. I don't think they will, because it's not the best strategy for 2v2s. Most people got bum rushed and lost miserably. 2v2 is very much so a mode of positioning and not so much for camping. So if you do that in the 2v2 face-off mode, it's probably not going to be a good idea. Multiplayer also has night vision goggles that you can turn on and off at any time, just like COD 4. However, instead of in COD 4, where pretty much every map is a day map and you don't need them and they're cosmetic, there are some multiplayer maps where it is very important to use your night vision goggles, and they have their own interesting mechanics and metagame when it comes to lighting and how you aim down sights under the goggles. And I'd like to talk more about that, but I think that's a little bit outside the scope of the 2v2 mode. And I don't think that 2v2 mode had any nighttime maps, so I don't believe that there was really a reason to use the goggles. It was pretty much all daytime. And finally, one small mechanic is that all doors are openable, and you can hit light switches and generator switches and a couple of other little things around the map that I didn't play with too much. You can garage doors will go up and down too if they have a button. Though most 2v2 maps didn't have doors either. I think there might have been one map that had like a crate that you can open and close, so you could see people doing that on the stream. But we're going to talk a lot about the guns today in just a moment. And yes, they're all real life, non-made up, non-BS guns for you gun fans out there. The 2v2 mode was by far my favorite mode out of anything that I played at Infinity Ward, and I think that most of the other YouTubers and influencers that went would agree. The maps are slightly smaller than Modern Warfare 3's face-off maps, because MW3 had these face-off maps that were really designed for 3v3 or kind of like long-range 2v2s. These are a little bit smaller, and I'm going to say that they are perfectly sized for 2v2 action. Most of the maps are 3 lanes, but I think one of them is technically a 4-lane map. I would say each map is maybe 2 to 3 times the size of Shipment from COD 4, and in general they tend to be rectangular in shape and symmetrical to each other so that the 2v2 mode is entirely fair. I remember there was a Kill House style map, like a training map with the guys that would pop up, like Firing Range or like Kill House in CoD, and you move around and shoot people through these cardboard walls and stuff. There was a map with some shipping containers that I seem to remember. It was like some docks or something, and you had shipping containers in the middle for cover. I think I also played on a launch site of some kind. There was one map I only played once, and the one that was the most memorable to me was the one in the woods with some unusual cover and a creek. The map looked asymmetrical because each side had, like, one side had a little tree fort and the other side had rocks and, you know, whatever, but functionally you had your high and your low, and it was a symmetrical map. And what made this one unusual is you had a creek going through the middle of the map that you could actually prone out and crawl under and take a little shortcut if you didn't you had to like crawl under a log, and you could like flank the enemies. It was really fun if they didn't hear you splashing around, of course. The 2v2 mode works a lot like Search and Destroy. Each round both teams get exactly 1 life per player, and when you die you're done and you can spectate your buddy. Eliminating other players, as in both of them, gets you a win. Or there is a single domination point that opens up after, I think, 1.5 minutes. If both teams are just kind of camping it out and nobody wants to go and fight, then you do have an opportunity to run up and relatively quickly capture that dom point and get the win that way. I got knocked out of the tournament that we were playing because the other team captured the dom point. I'll get to that in a minute. You don't get to choose your loadout whatsoever in this mode. That is restricted to you because every round all 4 players get a new random-ish loadout. Now, to clarify on this, 2 points. All 4 players get the same random loadout. So you're not going to be stuck with pistols while some guy has rifles and stuff like that. If it's pistols, everybody has pistols. If it's P90s, everybody has P90s. All 4 players get exactly the same loadout. And it isn't exactly what I would call a true random loadout. It's not like the random loadout generator like you had in other Call of Duty games or online, where you could just get like completely crap, like random unusable junk, you know, like ACOGs on really high recoil weapons. As far as I can tell, it's sort of a pretty big group of presets. The devs came through and made some reasonable classes and some fun classes, and it draws from that pool. Some of the weapon rounds that I have gotten that I can then talk about in the context of this video is we got some P90s, where all 4 players had P90s. It was a very aggressive rushing kind of round. P90 was probably one of the lowest damage weapons in the game. And in a game that has a lot of very high damage weapons, the P90s were surprisingly weak but easy to use. There was a PKM ACOG LMG round, which I played more on the Kill House map than anywhere else. So the strategy there was to like try to spawn peek people or try to wall bang or just like spray through walls. It was unusual. There was pistol only rounds, a couple of different types of pistols that I don't remember I really should have remembered exactly what make and model, because I know you guys would be like really excited about that. I know there was a Desert Eagle, and I think there was a revolver, and then there was like some sort of little Russian tiny janky kind of pistol. They had a shotguns only round. There were a couple of different shotguns in the game, but we only got to use the heavy pump action shotgun, like an 870. I think it actually was an 870 MCS, if I'm not mistaken. The shotgun performance was very, very all or nothing. You pretty much never got hit markers with the shotguns when we played. You would either shoot and kill somebody, or you would shoot and nothing would happen. Pretty much, with few exceptions, just about any hit within the range that the shotgun pellets existed was gonna be fatal. You didn't get too many hit markers with those. There were Dragunovs only in a couple of different rounds. Dragunov was the only sniper rifle that we had available to use, except we also had a cowboy lever action sniper rifle, like an old Yeehaw lever action repeater kind of weapon, and you could put a sniper scope on it because with this particular weapon, headshots were always fatal. So this kind of turned into, if you just kind of want to spam for 2 or 3 body shots, like pow, kapow, kapow, like I guess you're in a cowboy movie, or if you want to treat it like a more wonky sniper rifle and go for the headshots. The Scar H rounds was very fun. Scar H is probably my overall favorite weapon. It had the best performance of everything that I used. Very, very high damage, that one. There was a couple of rounds of AK-47 or M4A1 type weapons. There was, I think we did UMP-45s, the umps. It's not exactly like the Modern Warfare 2 umps, so don't get your hopes up too high about that. And there is a new FMG kind of weapon that I think we did rounds of. You're thinking like the little dual FMG9s with crazy hip fire and crazy high rates of fire that just spray people. This one was more of a slower shooting. I think it shot like 50 caliber rounds or something crazy. It was like a 2-hitter quit, but it had horrible, horrible recoil. There was a knife round with knives and throwing knives only. One of the weirder rounds was you can have an RPG only or law only round, like the launchers. And I think in this round you also get double frag grenades and flak jackets, so you're like spamming these rockets at each other trying to get direct hits. That's kind of a goofier one. And in 2v2 there's no kill streaks or anything like that in this mode. There's no you know, kill 3, 4, 5 and you get a streak that comes. No, every round ends, it just resets so that it's completely fair the second round. And some of you may be asking about grenades. There's pretty basic Call of Duty-esque Modern Warfare 3 style grenades in this game mode, and grenades were locked for, I think it was 15 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, some significant number of seconds, so that you couldn't just spawn and start throwing concussions and frags across the map and cheesing people. They were locked where you would hit the button and it would do nothing for just a little bit. But after people had a reasonable amount of time to reposition, you're welcome to spam your grenades. The grenades that you got would be random each round too. They weren't the same. They would change by classes. I think at one time we got smoke grenades or something. And to the best of my knowledge, there's no C4 in 2v2 mode. That is not something that you're going to be able to do. Each round will force players to use different tactics to win. For instance, the sniper rifles you'll get a sniper and like a pistol. So we'd have one guy sniping and the other guy pushing with the pistols to reposition. When we had shotgun kill trading, where we'd try to watch each other's backs. So if I don't get the kill, he will. Wall banging with the LMGs. P90 was very, very much so about rushing and positioning and climbing and stuff like that. Pistol rounds I found oddly to be determined not by who had the fastest trigger finger, but rather by who could shoot the most accurately at range. Because people are going to rush you because you can't hit them at range. So one of the better strategies was to kind of get up on a perch and try and get that like 4 or 5 shots in a row at range to get an easy down on somebody. There's the kind of pushes where you throw a concussion grenade and a friendly pushes through because you get a hit marker. And overall, I really, really enjoyed this mode. And it's the... Boomy. Boomy, I'm doing Call of Duty. Come here. You guys are wondering what all those little pitter-patter of feet are, all those annoying noises. That's good old Boomy Bandius here. It's about his dinner time here in Texas, and he's getting really feisty. Yeah, you're a good boy. What was I talking about? Yeah, 7 rounds to win. First to 7 points. First to 7 wins. You're a bad dog. I have to put you down. You're annoying. No scratch. Go away. Go lick your butt. One of the other neat things about it is that you can build your own March Madness style bracket in-game with your friends, or anybody that you invited for that matter. We each joined, as in each is in the commentators that were playing, some huge lobby with everyone in the office and set up some sort of like massive bracket tournament to play, literally like your fan March Madness kind of stuff. The bracket structure, the win-loss, the invites, your positioning, your tiers, your ranks, pretty much all of that was March Madness, and it was done automatically. This wasn't us on the dry erase board, keeping track of it. It wasn't a small bracket. It was a pretty huge bracket, and we were all able to sit there and go through it. And when I was done with my match, I could spectate other people, or when I got knocked out, I could spectate the champions and just kind of watch them move through the bracket. We all had a ton of fun playing this, challenging each other, trying to find out who was best. And I think at the end, I got like 4th place, and I think Ace and Dalek were the ultimate champs. They beat out Swiftor and Incredible Orb, if I remember this correctly. Some other interesting fun facts about Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer are that when we were at the I keep like leaning and falling because I got a new chair. When we were at the office, the game was playable, of course, on PlayStation 4 because it's still Sony partnership. The game was playable, functional, and workable on Xbox One. We had some Xbox One fans there that moved to that really quickly. And it was playable on PC, which is kind of rare. Usually you never see PC gameplay early. I played exclusively on PC because I am mostly a PC gamer now. If you guys see my channel, I don't use the PlayStation as much anymore. But I got to play on PC in 1440p, 144 FPS with no frame drops, no performance issues, no weird crashes, no problems whatsoever. My PC experience was smooth, the controls were good. There were some things that I could do, like FOV slider, and there were like there was good. I remember getting into the menus immediately to like screw around with it. And there were graphics options that you would want in a PC game, but seeing as how this was like a super alpha build, the majority of them were locked or grayed out so that I couldn't do weird things and crash it. Overall, I really enjoyed my PC experience. It played well on PC. That's almost certainly how it's going to be playing when it comes out, or how I'm going to be playing when the game comes out. I'm tired. You can tell my back is starting to hurt the longer I sit here. There were no specialists available for any mode that we played. Just none. There's no crazy abilities, no free annihilator, no microwave, no ground pound, none of that stuff. Just regular old operators. The multiplayer operators didn't have clown suits, they weren't gingerbread men, they all had real life gear and camos, and pretty much everything that you would unlock comes from some military faction around the world. Now, as you know, the world is a very varietous place, and some military factions have some really strange things that you can equip, but they're all real. I think you'd all be very happy with this. It's Modern Warfare 3 style. It feels like you're a real, actual operator. Weapons were mostly locked down in the capacity that we couldn't customize them very much. The customization wasn't finished yet, but we could choose most of the weapons in the game, and there was a metric ton of attachments that we didn't get to use because they were kind of on lockdown at the moment. Like, each gun had just boatloads of attachments that you can put on it, and there was a big amount of weapons as well. I don't know how many of these weapons will be final. I don't know how, I hope to God they don't section off and put some of them as DLC or whatever, but a lot of real world weapons to choose from that I think that you're all going to be very happy with. For the 2v2, it's all going to be random attachments and stuff though. The health, very important. The health reminded me more of Modern Warfare 3 than anything else. You definitely died quicker than Black Ops 4. You definitely died quicker than Black Ops 3 or Ghost or maybe even World War 2. It was a lot more like MW3 or Ghost. I said Ghost. Man, I'm hurting bad here. I'm trying to finish this commentary. Probably closer to Ghost depending on the weapons that you're using. So you get picks really quickly in this game. This is not a game of like running out and doing big flashy moves and like sliding over a wall and shooting sideways and like Apex Legends kind of stuff. Now you get picked pretty quickly. The more popular weapons were the heavy rifles in the game, and by heavy rifles I mean high caliber rifles and not the semi-auto ones. There were some semi-autos as well, but the heavier rifles were 3 shots to kill at almost every range, or 1 body plus 1 head and you're dead, so you can 2-shot drop people. And most of the commentators that I played with preferred that, and we turned it into a game of picking and pushing pretty quickly. Most of the rifles killed quickly, but they handled like doo-doo. So I enjoyed the Scar H, but the big problem with the Scar H round when I was playing 2v2 is I'd want to push people with it and get like those 2 headshots and drop them. But I would forget that it aims down sights miserably slow and has a huge hip fire box, and it was kind of really struggle bussy. You have to set up with those. SMGs, of course, notably higher rate of fire, tighter hip fire spread, better overall handling, snappy ADS, but they were like 4, 5, 6 shots to kill, kind of like most SMGs have been in COD games. So going from 2 shots to 5 is a big difference. I didn't generally prefer them, but I guess that's how it should be. You have some, some trade-offs here. I will say that multiplayer graphics are really good looking. At least they were for me on PC. I walked around and saw some of my console associates playing, and I didn't see any issues with the graphics whatsoever, and most of the previews and trailers we saw were running on a PS4 live. I was happy with it. I thought it looked good. Overall, I had a very good time playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare at the office. I'm glad I got invited. I'm glad I can finally talk about it now that the NDA has been lifted. I've been wanting to talk about it forever. There's a ton more stuff that I saw, like so much more stuff that I want to talk about. Pretty much all of it's good, too. I don't have very much bad to say about this game. I was really happy. I'm recording this the night before the reveal, so I have no idea exactly what all they're going to show and reveal. I'm just talking about all I can within the scope of the 2v2 mode NDA, and I'm trying to get this done early so that I can lay down and rest because my back is just absolutely on fire right now. But I hope that at the end of this video, you know that I think Modern Warfare has a chance to bring Call of Duty back to where it should be. It is a big game. It is a good game from what I've played in alpha and beta, and I think that this has more potential to do more good for Call of Duty than any COD game in the last maybe like 5 years. The big deciding factor is not the gameplay or the features or crossplay or any of that stuff. I think you're all going to be very happy with that, but rather the monetization. I've said it a million times. The monetization, the loot boxes, supply drops, the battle pass, the whatever pass, that's going to be the make or break. If they can come up with a model that works and makes sense for Call of Duty, I think this game is going to be an absolute banger of a game, and I'm really excited to hopefully play sometime in the future. I was kind of surprised they didn't do it at E3. Well, guys, that's all for this video. I can't sit any longer. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Or you could follow me on Twitter, because I'm going to be answering all sorts of questions about it on Twitter, and I post 3 or 4 fun gaming videos per day on Twitter, like the ones you're about to see at the end of this video that I use to shamelessly pad the length. Drifter out. Streaming has been hard lately, so in order to raise some more funds, today we're making Gamer Boy bathwater. And the very first month is going to be cereal flavored, lactose free.
I dropped some cold. It's so cold. My face is numb. This is a bad idea.
Now let's add 1 bag of dehydrated marshmallows. Oh yeah. And no Gamer Boy bathwater is complete without a proper full body soak in the glorious. Oh yeah.
Ow. Good. Oh, delicious.
Order now for $29.99 and you can get your very own G Fuel shaker cup full of Gamer Boy bathwater. And if you subscribe on YouTube, I'll sell it to you for the low price of $28.99. Ah, yeah. So relaxing. So good. Oh, yeah. This is a brilliant idea. We should have done this like months ago. I'm gonna be able to buy a new car in no time flat.
Just skim it like you're skimming for gold.
Okay.
That's why I was like, I don't know why that colander, but...
So, this was kind of a terrible idea when it comes to cleanup. Yeah. You got some gold in there. Lucky Charms, I suppose.
Fantastic. And then you got it all over your, like, shirt and stuff.
I'm sure that I do.
You got... I don't see any in your hair, but this is going to be fun. You have fun doing that. All right, bye.
No, I need your...
What the?